Hey, Grand Rising. It is Monday, January 19th, 2026. Cheers. So I'm up and I'm trying to get motivated to begin doing. I had a whole fiasco Sunday yesterday. And I really wanted to kind of touch base on this because normally when this stuff happens, I have a huge bad reaction. Not just sometimes, all the time. So yesterday, when these things kept happening, I didn't want to have a bad reaction. So I chose to do something different. And that's probably the main point, one of the main points. I've got many main points in my videos, but that's one of the main points as to how to do things differently. When bullshit happens and things break and you mess something up, messed up wasn't the words I was going to use, but we're going to go with it. So when you mess up stuff and you have a bad reaction, you can choose your reaction no matter what. So yesterday morning, probably first thing right off the bat, I started mixing up my bread batter. It's not dough because I'm not like rolling it with my hands. It's batter that you scoop and pour into. It's a pouring batter. And smart me decided to take the 1 1/4 cups per batch, because I'm doing a quadruple batch. Take it times 4. I got 5 cups of flour, which is all I should have had was 5 cups of flour. Someone added 10 cups of flour because they were thinking about other things and got confused. But I didn't realize that I added twice the amount of flour. So I added enough flour for an octuple batch, not a quadruple batch, an octuple batch. I think that's a word. I don't know if it's a word. But I added enough flour for quadruple batch times 2. And I didn't realize it until very later in the day that I was going to the store to buy up more zucchini. I was like, oh, that's why my dough is too thick. I don't know why I didn't realize it before. I just didn't. And even my friend was here while I was mixing it up, and I was like, look how thick this is. I don't even understand it. And the other one, like one of them looked too thick. The other one looked too thin. So what do I do? I'd already added 10 cups of flour to both batches. The one that looked too thin, I added 3 more cups of flour. Getting that back out of the bag to reincorporate extra ingredients took me about a good 30 minutes just to get it out of the bag because it was so thick and heavy. And I didn't understand before, but then I realized I added too much flour. So while I was at the store, I picked up more bananas, the ripest ones I could find. I found a singular lonely banana that was the ripest that everyone had hidden, and so I picked it up because you go into my bread. And other bananas that were mostly more ripe than the green ones that they set out. So I get back here and I mix up more ingredients. What was it? Without the flour, there's bananas, eggs, sugar, butter, baking soda. So I mixed all that up in its own little bowl, and then I flipped it into the actual batter that was too thick, and then I used my spatulas and spoons and I folded it in, and then I took my mixer to it and it loosened it all right up. So instead of doing a quadruple batch of the banana and the banana nut yesterday, I did an octuple batch of banana and banana nut, which is fine because I know I'm going to sell it. I know it's going to get used. I've got so many bags of batter outside right now. It's cold outside. The back porch doubles as a freezer as well, or cooler, whatever. So that's chilling on the back porch now. And then after I fixed my fiasco with banana bread, well, in the middle of fixing my fiasco with my banana bread, I broke my mixer. Or no, in the middle of trying to figure out why my stuff was too thick, I ended up breaking my mixer. I still got to call KitchenAid to figure out what's going on. The mixer was gifted to me I think I registered it in my name. So I got to call and figure out if I can get it fixed. If I can't, I guess I'm without a mixer. So we'll find that out later. Either way, so in the middle of trying to figure out why my dough's too thick, my mixer breaks. And then after that, during my live video yesterday, I spilt my coffee everywhere. So I'm holding on to my coffee right now, and I'm not doing anything crazy right now. Because then I had coffee running all over the table, which normally isn't a bad thing, except I've got my yarn out here on the table as well. And so it was like everywhere. I was fit to be tied. But I also didn't overreact. I wanted to, but I also held myself accountable for me in that moment. Partly because I was live on my video and no one wants to see a crazy Misty go crazy. And partly because I don't want to put myself in that mental state anymore. Where, you cry over spilled coffee or spilled milk or something random stupid happens, you didn't like it and you throw a fit like a 2-year-old. I'm not doing that to myself anymore. Even when I just said that, throwing a fit like a 2-year-old, I felt a little twinge in my heart. So we're just not doing that anymore. I can get through things, even the hard things, even the things I didn't expect to happen. I can get through it without blowing a gasket. And normally I probably would have blown a gasket. And there was so much that happened yesterday to me, with me, for me, beside me, from me, around me, that I had every right to blow a gasket. And I still chose to not blow a gasket. Was there something else that happened? Well, and then, so after I finished up fixing the bread dough, fixing the bread batter, I ended up mixing up 2 quadruple batches of a zucchini bread batter. One with nuts, one without nuts. So if you want zucchini bread, zucchini nut bread, banana nut bread, I will. Grand Rising Kelly. Cheers. I have all the bread batter made up. There is no mixing today, just baking. And my friend was going to be by at 4:30 this morning to pick up her bread. So I needed to get it baked, cooled, packaged, labeled, and set outside because Misty's not getting up at 4:30 in the morning. Because Misty didn't go to bed until almost 2 o'clock this morning. Because I needed to get it done. Would she have understood if I didn't get it done? Possibly. Would her people, and her people would have probably understood if she didn't have the bread today either. They would have probably understood. But then she would have had a whole lot of explaining to do, and instead of handing out bread, she would be explaining why I'm not. And that's too hard on her. I'm not putting her through that. So I made sure I got the bread done for her. Text my aunt, because my aunt's order is quite a bit bigger. And I said, hey, when you plan on picking up the bread? And she said, whenever you want me to. So I had said that she could pick it up before she went to work today. But then I also told her I was in the kitchen from 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. just doing. And she was like, well, picking it up tomorrow will kind of push me on my time. So how about we just wait until Tuesday when I'm not working? I said, hey, that works. And then she said, you need a break too. You need to take a rest because you've been at it all day and all this funky stuff has happened. You need a break. Which is great because I didn't get up and start baking first thing this morning. I got up, I woke up normally, I'm drinking my coffee. I will bake in a little bit, but it's not something that was high on my priority list as soon as I woke up this morning. I felt like there was so much that happened yesterday. And also, in the doing of everything else, I got the dishes done. Mostly. The pizza pans from yesterday I did not do. I wasn't doing them last night. I was already too tired. But sometimes that happens. Sometimes we have things happen in our lives. Coffee spilled everywhere. KitchenAid mixer broke. Extra flour in the frickin' batter that takes you 3 to 4 hours to fix. A whole lot of stuff happened. And I still kept my calm, kept my cool. And even my husband was surprised that I kept my cool all day and I didn't freak out like I normally do and become beside myself. But when I become beside myself and like overly emotional, and when I'm like, fuck life, fuck this shit, and I go off like that, then I'm not helping myself. I'm not being nice to myself. I'm not being nice to anyone else, and I'm not helping anyone else. I am full on in my own emotional turmoil. And that's not fun, to be in your own emotional turmoil. And you can change. That's probably one of the reasons that I tell everyone what I'm doing, is because in the past, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, I would have blown a gasket for all of this stuff happening. KitchenAid mixer breaking, coffee all over everything, extra freaking flour in my dough. I would have blown a gasket. But I didn't this time. I had cut my cool. I held myself accountable for me, because I knew that if I let myself get overly emotional about it, that I wouldn't be good to anyone, even myself, the rest of the day. And that's not fun for me. It's completely exhausting. It's completely draining. That negative energy it wears on you, and it will make you feel like crap. And I don't want to feel like crap. I mean, I feel like crap enough lately. I don't need to make myself feel even more like crap. And to chalk it up to, you know what? Things will happen. Things will happen. How do you get through it? Things will happen. Fucking breathe. And that's what I did yesterday. So, you can change. You know what? Bullshit's going to happen every day. You get to choose every single day how you're going to get through it, how you're going to react or respond to it. And I've been practicing a whole lot. I've been practicing so much that I think the only tears that I shed yesterday was momentarily thinking about Jeremiah. And that's an everyday thing. I momentarily think about Jeremiah. I shed a few tears. I'm like, no, I can't let myself stay in this state. I can't let myself stay in this state. I can't, and I've got to repeat it to myself. I have to repeat it to myself. I have to tell myself what I'm doing. I have to do it. So when you're waking up and people are like, oh, well, you get to decide. Yes, you get to decide every day. What are you going to decide? Are you going to decide to be a negative Nancy all day long and make other people's lives miserable and yourself miserable? Or are you going to shut the fuck up and do what you got to do for you? There's going to be negative people out there all the time that's going to harass you and tell you you're not worth anything and tell you you're worthless. I think it's the same thing. But there's going to be people out there that are going to push you to your limits. And they're not going to give a shit because they're only thinking about themselves. And a lot of people in the world are just thinking about themselves. Well, why aren't they checking on me? Because they're thinking about themselves. Why aren't they doing this? Because they're thinking about themselves. Because that's what we do as humans. We think about ourselves. Can we think about others in the other moments? Sure. But how do I want to say that? A lot of us that are more empathetic think about how our actions and our words are going to affect someone else. And I haven't always thought about how my actions and my words are going to affect other people. But lately, that's all I do. I understand how my actions and my words are going to affect someone else. And sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's, their nosiness that gets me going. And I'm like, look, it's my life. You don't need to be nosy in my life. What you being nosy for? Go be nosy in your own life. What you doing for you? What you doing for you? What are you being nosy about in your own life for? Yeah, you're being nosy over here. You're being nosy over there. You're being nosy everywhere else. You're being nosy everywhere. And I'm not normally a nosy person. I do follow politics lately. But other than that, I'm not a nosy person. I don't give a shit what other people are doing. I like to treat people how I want to be treated. Left the fuck alone. And I even told the kid that last night. She was out here hugging up on me and stuff. And she was talking about, how she treats people. And I don't remember what she said. But then I really reiterated to her, I treat people how I want to be treated. Left alone. And she was like, oh, okay, bye. But that's what she does. She'll come out, she'll hug up on me, she'll love me up a little bit, and then she's like, okay, I've had enough, and she's gone. Back into her own little world with her music, her crafting, her drawing, whatever. And she's out of school today because of Martin Luther King Day. So, that's what she does. And I don't find fault in her for that, because at her age, that's what I wanted. I wanted to be left alone. So I treat people how I want to be treated. And apparently I've done that my entire life. You leave me alone, I will leave you alone. You start causing shit with me, I'm going to tell you where to stick it. And then I'm going to go and do something else. Because I like telling people where to stick it. I used to get paid to tell people where to stick it. Put your truck in the dock. I told people where to stick it. Stick your truck in the dock. Tell people where to go. Take your truck around back. Put your truck in the dock. Tell people where to go and where to stick it. That was fun. So, I don't always generally tell people where to stick it these days. Unless you are being nosy in my life and you're not fixing you for whatever you need to fix yourself for. And I'm not saying people technically need fixed, but if you're coming at me and being evil and vindictive towards me, then you probably got some fixing to do in yourself. And if you're trying to make someone else's life miserable because you're miserable, and you don't realize that you're making other people's lives miserable because you're miserable, then just stay away. Stay away from me. I will stay away from you. I like to be treated. I like to treat people how I want to be treated. Left alone. I know I'm going to reiterate it because that's true. I don't like to be bothered. Even the husband. I'm so glad he's sleeping right now. He's going to be to work at 5. Just leave me alone right now. I'm in my own little hermit mode. Leave me alone. I will be fine. I don't need, and even my sister suggested yesterday that I needed some counseling. And she's like, I know you can get through things and I know you can do things, but maybe you should get some counseling for those small little emotional outbursts you have. I said, but those little emotional outbursts that I have don't stop me from doing anything. Like, I was mopping the floors the other day and I was crying because of Jeremiah. I didn't stop mopping. I might have wanted to throw the mop, but instead of throwing the mop, I mopped up my tears. So, you're going to have stuff like that. Are you going to, this is a thing. I have my pocket here, and I've always got something in there these days. So, I don't know. I don't remember what I was saying. Just, do better for you. And if you're not, and if other people are yelling and screaming at you or don't want to be around you, then maybe you need to figure out why for yourself. And I'm going to suggest counseling. I'm going to suggest therapy. I'm going to suggest journaling. I'm going to suggest you telling yourself good things. I'm going to suggest deep breathing. I'm going to suggest meditating. I'm going to suggest YouTube guided meditation. I'm going to suggest a sleep app that's going to help you sleep and help your mind be busy in order for you to fall asleep. I'm going to suggest those things because those things have worked for me. And every now and then you'll run into someone where that shit don't work for me. Look, I used to be that. I was that person. That shit don't work for me. But it does. Whether you believe it or not, actually, in fact, if you believe it will work for you, it will. If you believe it will not work for you, then it won't. That's the same thing. And whichever way you think it will work for me, it will. And in the same instance, if you think it won't work for me, then it won't. It is exactly what you think, no matter what you're thinking. It really is. If you think this is bullshit, then it's bullshit. If you think this is great, then it's great. If you think this is true, then it's true. If you think it's not the same exact thing, if you think it's not true, then it's not true. You get to pick. You get to decide. That's the beauty of your life, is you get to decide. In the same aspect, I get to decide these things for myself. And I'm not going to let anyone else come in and tell me anything different. So, on a Monday, find your things to feel grateful for. I am grateful today that my aunt is not picking up her bread until tomorrow. That means I can not rush myself. I can take the time that I need. I can take a break if I need to. I can get things done in a timely fashion without having to rush through it and make a mistake. So I'm really grateful for that today. Grateful for the coffee maker that I set up last night, and all I had to do was push the button this morning. Grateful for that. Misty was on top of it last night after she figured out her old freaking bread fiasco. She got her shit together and was like, look, Misty, I had to have a talk with Misty. You see me talking to myself? I'm just having a staff meeting. I had to have a talk with Misty. Like, Misty, come on, let's get your shit together. Let's concentrate. Let's focus and get this done so we're not up until 3 a.m. I was still up until 2 a.m., but I wasn't up until 3 a.m. And in fact, I think I told the husband I was going to be up until 2. And that's exactly what it was. I was up until 2. I was done with everything at 1:30, but then I still had to calm myself down and get myself ready mentally for bed. Even though I was really tired anyway, whatever. So find your own things to feel grateful for in your life, whatever's going on. I don't know what's going on in your life. I just know what's going on in mine. And I'm not nosy enough to give a shit whatever's going on in your life. I know that sounds kind of rude sometimes, but are you giving a shit about what's going on in your life? Or are you giving a shit about what's going on in everyone else's lives? Because when you're confused about life and you don't know how to get to the next step, try to focus on yourself and what's going on in your life. And then if the neighbor likes to focus on what's going on in my life, but refuses to look at what he's doing in his life. And I don't care. You want to focus on my life? Fine. That's your energy, not mine. I'm focusing in my life for me. You want to focus in my life? I can't stop you. But what I'm going to suggest is you take that focus and put it back into your own self and figure out your own shit. I said it. And if you can't find anything else to feel grateful for, your heart beating, your hands moving, your feet getting into the bathroom, you can at least feel the gratitude that you can wipe your own ass. I'm going to say it every day because it's important. Because on the off chance that you can't, you better hope that other person that has that job is going to do the job that you need them to do. Do the paperwork properly with no extra leftovers. Whatever. Also, be your own magic, find your own magic. I think yesterday was not magical for me, but it was also extremely magical for me in the sense that, yes, this stuff kept happening. The mixer breaking, the extra flour, the coffee everywhere. Things just kept happening. And I think my magic was in how I responded to each of those instances. And instead of throwing my mixer and breaking it even more, I decided to set it down to the side and figure it out later. Because I didn't need it right then. Like, it wasn't a need right then. Because again, these batches are huge. The batches are huge. So, because the batches are so huge, I don't use my stand mixer for those batches. I use the hand mixer. So the stand mixer wasn't an important part of my day yesterday. It was a mini part. Like, I thought, okay, let's just get it out and whip this stuff up real quick and it'll be fine. It was just a mini part of my day. It didn't stop me from finishing out the rest of my day. And then the coffee, I just was like frustrated. And then I kind of, because I've always got paper towel on the table. I've always got paper towel. So I just grabbed off paper towel and then I dumped a paper towel. And I was like, you know what? Just gonna not do it right now. Just gonna sop up some of this other stuff and I'm just gonna leave it alone and I'll come back to it later. And normally I don't do that. Normally I go off the deep end for that. And then I, fixed my banana bread batter, both of them. So, it took me a little while to get through it, to fix it, to get stuff done. But I did it without glitching excessively. That was my magic, because I could have glitched excessively and I chose not to. It's a choice. Sometimes you don't know that it's a choice, but it's a choice. So I feel like that was my magic, is that I didn't all over everyone yesterday, because I really could have done that. And then be your own sunshine. Whether tomorrow's promised or not. I just told my friend this morning, she's been fasting, and she gets to feeling like she's not feeling good because she's fasting. And I'm like, look, maybe you shouldn't do this every day. Maybe you should have a bread every day, every single day. In the morning, have a bread, and then fast after that. Because over fasting our bodies will harm us. Fast for a few days, or fast for, a few hours or whatever. Like when we have breakfast in the morning, break your fast. We've been fasting all night, the whole time we've been sleeping. And so a breakfast is to break your fast. And so break it. Break the fast. From sleeping all night, break that fast right there. Have a little bit of something to break that fast. And even if it's just coffee, that's what I do to break my fast. And then fast the rest of the day until dinner time. And you can do it. We can do these things. And if you're not used to fasting, you really should start small. Start in small increments. Don't force yourself. Don't overdo it, because your body needs this stuff too. Your body needs to be fasted. It needs to be, without things so it can heal other things. Here's the deal with fasting. And I've only recently started looking into it because I've been kind of interested in myself. But here's the deal with fasting, is that when you fast for a good 18 hours or so, and I've done that before, just even recently I've done that, where I go to sleep and I don't eat anything until dinner the next evening. So I have fasted like that before, and it's not always easy, but also keep your water. If you're going to be fasting, drink your water, because your body will be water hungry. And sometimes when I'm hungry, I'm just water hungry. I will drink a half a bottle of water and I'm like, okay, I feel better now. So if you're going to be fasting, drink your water. And again, do it in small increments. Start small. But also, tomorrow's not promised. Don't continue to deprive yourself of this stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. The deal with fasting is that when you fast, your body has the time and the ability to remove the extra crap that doesn't belong. Like if you do breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day, every all the time, then you're not giving your body that time to remove the bad stuff. And sometimes that's probably part of our sicknesses. Whatever we get, whatever thing is happening to us, is because our body has been so busy just digesting food and digesting more food. Oh, there's more food. Let's digest more food. Oh, there's more food. Let's digest more food. So your body is so busy digesting all of this food that you keep feeding it, that it's not taking the time to repair other systems in your body. So if you're going to be fasting or even begin, start small. Bedtime through morning time is a fast. So start small. Realize it. Do it consciously. Figure it out. Do your research. I've been doing my research on it, so that's what we do. And sometimes I don't fast, and sometimes after I've been fasting all day, I will eat like a million different things. And I'm exaggerating a little bit, but really it feels like that. Like I'll eat something for dinner, and then I'll have a snack, and then I'll have another snack, and then I'll have another snack, and then I'll have another snack, and then I'll go to bed. So, but then my body is just digesting all that food while I'm sleeping instead of repairing my systems that need to be repaired. So figure it out for yourself. Your body is what you got to do for you. Your body, your human, is the one you're taking care of. So do it well. Do it better. And treat yourself also. Your body needs that good stuff just as much as it needs to fast. And I really feel like my bread is really healthy. Even with the butter. Since the food pyramid is flipped, butter's up on the food pyramid, and there's butter in my banana bread and canola oil in my zucchini bread. I ran out of olive oil. So the zucchini bread is canola oil, which is a healthier oil than vegetable oil. So, just do what you can. Recap. Find your things to feel grateful for. Be your own magic. Find your own magic and be your own sunshine. And if you can't find the middle ground to get these things done for yourself, take some deep breaths. Do a little mini meditation. You can Google how to meditate, how to self-care, how to self-soothe, how to anything. You can Google it and it will help you with the answers. You can also YouTube it. Put those questions in YouTube and it'll come up with a video describing exactly what you're looking for. I promise you that. So if you don't want to contact someone for extra help outside of your person, use Google. Use it. It's there. Fucking use it. Because yeah, sometimes they can give you false information, but for the most part, I think that it can give you some really helpful tips to help you make up your own mind. So that's all I got. Hope everyone can have a great Monday. Happy Martin Luther King Day. I appreciate everyone out there, whether you watch me live or not, whether you watch my YouTube or not. I don't care whether you agree with me or not. I don't care. I appreciate you anyway. Steve out.